Thank you for joining my session at the Chatbot Africa and Conversational AI Summit. I am Resham Sivnarain, a digital technologist for machine learning and AI at Nedbank. Today, I shall talk about chatbot ecosystems and return on investment on chatbots. I would also like to introduce you to some of our chatbots we've created and also shed my thoughts on how Africa is uniquely positioned to accelerate itself with chatbots. I hope you enjoy this session. But before we get started, I'd like to share my view on chatbots in 2021. I'm not sure if anybody has tried doing this, riding on a unicycle while balancing a beacon on their head while juggling. I know that when you try to do this for the first time, it seems like an impossible task. This is exactly why I feel many will relate to this when developing chatbots or in embarking the implementation of a chatbot within their business. Let me explain a bit further. At the bottom, you have business objectives. Hard to keep balance, and the trick is to keep moving and hopefully forward. On the top, you have customer experience and expectation. Make sure it stays stable and sturdy, else you will drop it. Last, you have the juggling pins, which represent technology, ever changing, and also requires both the science and art to keep going. Many would relate, but remember, as you practice and build more chatbots, you will get better. The same applies to almost all technology fields, but with chatbots, it has a particular relevance to it. So, moving in to chatbot ecosystems. At the heart of a chatbot ecosystem, I believe there are chatbots themselves. Many would say that it's actually the customer or the client. But from what we've seen, the better we make our chatbots, the better our customer experience becomes, the better our customer retention becomes, and the better our business becomes. With this in mind, I've put together and focused on four elements that make up a chatbot ecosystem. They are end to end solution providers, self service solution providers, chatbot analytics and testing, which is a major part that we keep forgetting about as we move into the chatbot realm. And the last are themselves the bot platforms that exist. End to end solution providers are typically large companies, generally have a relatively complex chatbot solution to build and do not want to invest too much time and energy in effort to building such a solution in-house. Therefore, a significant number of enterprises are working with end-to-end solution providers that will work with the client team to understand requirements, process customer data, and use it to train and develop chatbots, as well as maintain chatbots to ensure customer satisfaction. These companies leverage large development in machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing to create chatbots. While bots can still not create conversational experiences like human conversations, they are beginning to handle basic customer queries and even some advanced ones. The second is the self-service solution providers. Small businesses have less demanding requirements and much smaller budgets for chatbots. These companies, a self-service solution is the right solution most of the time. Their technical personnel can leverage existing APIs or self-service tools to build chatbots in a matter of days and even weeks. For developers, at large companies may want to use self-service solutions to build a solution on top of existing frameworks to save time. The next is chatbot analytics and testing. Here, we want to create a full platform and have all your analytics in one place, as well as being able to test before we release our chatbot. We analyze how customers are interacting with your chatbot, as well as use semi-automated and automated testing frameworks to facilitate bot testing. The last element is the bot platforms. Once your bot is ready, it's time to set it loose. Viral and useful bots have managed to acquire loyal followings in platforms such as Facebook Messenger and Slack. You can even use the bot platforms to implement on your own website and your own mobile digital channels. This is just an introduction to most of the chatbot ecosystems. I believe that these ecosystems will evolve and change as we go along. 5 years ago, the ecosystem might have looked very different, while in 5 years' time, the system and the ecosystem will look very much different from what it is right now. With that said in mind, there are many views and ways to categorize chatbot ecosystems. One way that I like to, to, to categorize the chatbot ecosystem is in the following manner. I like it for three reasons. The first is that it is quite clean and neat. The second is that it is quite aligned to the customer's views, hence focusing on messaging platforms from the top and going deeper into the stack. And the second is it aligned to most architectural platforms or architectural layouts that can easily be assimilated and designed within your organization. Tied to this, I believe that there are also two main drivers that drive chatbot ecosystems and will continue to drive them into the future. The first is customer experience. The second is innovation. So let me delve into the first, customer expectation. Customers are expecting to move from more human to human interactions to something more offline. Chatbots work well here, and our customers are expecting us to have a chatbot to engage with first. This has becoming a norm, particularly when we're looking at messaging platforms. These platforms are driving the customer expectation. Many customers are already on Messenger, Facebook, Slack, and WeChat. These platforms themselves are where customers are, hence, they expect a chatbot to be there. The second is innovation. And innovation will continue to grow for the next couple of years till the end of time, I believe. But innovation in another way is driving chatbots forward to the company's to-do list. With a rigid pace of innovation, you can implement a chatbot easier than ever. Enhancements to NLP models and better NLU strategies and tactics are driving deep chatbot experiences. One key thing tied to innovation is that when using a chatbot, we would ideally like to use a chatbot that touches all these elements of the ecosystem that are presented on the left, from the general AI agent platforms to messaging platforms to generalized NLU and AI as a service platforms to bot frameworks and development platforms. For example, if we take the bot framework from Microsoft, at the bottom going up in their bot framework and development platform, they have the Microsoft bot framework. Within the AI as a service, they have Lewis. Within the messaging platforms, they have Skype and now Teams. And finally, on the general AI agents, they have Cortana. So they have a thread that travels from the top part of the layout of the ecosystem all the way down to the deeper levels, which is a good technology strategy. We should bear in mind as we use these strategies going forward and when we are adopting partners within our companies and our strategies. With the interest in chatbots increasing, we are not only the ones attempting to categorize chatbot systems, and this will continue to evolve as we go forward. I've just showed you a very simple and clean and neat version that I believe is quite easy to understand. But because of this change in landscapes of chatbot ecosystems, it, it becomes much difficult to ensure that business gets their return on investment that they initially set out to achieve, especially when we have so many players, so many changes, and at the same time, so many expectations from our customer. The return on investment within the context of chatbots will definitely change in the coming of years. ROI has always depends on many factors: company strategy, financials, partnership models, implementation models, etc. Hence, it's quite a wide topic to discuss in detail. But today, my focus will be on sharing with you a different view on chatbot return on investment, which is often missed. Many companies focus on chatbot strategy on client interaction, either from a sales or a marketing perspective, from support to helplines. They forget about key chatbot strategy element that I shall now discuss. One such key chatbot strategy is to look inside the company to enhance customer experience. One study that has been done from the HBR report involves 250 companies. The data concludes that the companies that actively invest in employee experience shaped by these environments outperform the ones that didn't. It is key to note that as part of these strategies, the base metrics that were used were typically employee growth, employee pay, average revenue, average profit, revenue per employee, profit per employee. The key outcomes from this study shows that customer experience and employee engagement values correlate quite closely. In other words, a good customer experience relies on a good employee experience. The second is when we focus on employee experience, we have a 4.2 times on average profit increase and a 4 times profit per employee increase as compared to companies that don't invest in employee experience. The third point is that 60% said it improves employee retention and 61% reported that improves employee productivity, the bottom line business results. With this set in mind, I want to share with you what Nedbank has embarked on in developing their own chatbot based on some of these experiences. It's quite difficult for me to share some of the return on investments and internal financial numbers with you, but instead, I will share with you the experience of what we've actually learned when we developed Nexi. Nexi, the Nedbank Employee Experience Interface Chatbot. Its main use case is for enhancing user experiences through employee experiences. With that set in mind, its success points of Nexi rests on 3 points. First, it was built with an MVP mindset. The second, it caters for large corporate environments built for 30,000 employees and more. And the third is it's still growing and getting better. So there's always an enhancement and a growth prospect for the chatbot. If we look at the first MVP mindset, we started this project as a pilot project to test technology and user appetite and quickly grew into a production-ready chatbot. We went through many fast early iterations with a key focus to deliver excellence, delivered within just 12 weeks. It caters for large corporate environments, hence it has the culture linguistics built into it. It understands the lingo of the employees. Built for 30,000 employees to use, 1,000 intents and growing, and more than 20,000 utterances. It's built for mobile and web, so that's for easy use of access. The third is still growing and getting better. What we've learned is that chatbots never go into production and stay the way they are. They need to grow and evolve. They need to change. They need to keep getting better. And the better the chatbot, the deeper the return on investment. We currently have major plans to expand its capabilities to include voice as well as video and major integrations to SAP. One can easily see the use case of being able to chat to a chatbot and easily check and book your leave as well as parking for visitors. With this in mind, we've learned a lot about both the technology implementation from a Nexi perspective as well as user acceptance of new digital AI agents in the workplace. With this set in mind, I'd like to move on. The next topic which I like to bring to my light is the massive opportunity for the future based on the two key drivers I discussed earlier, customer expectation and innovation. We've also found this report from the HBR that shows that 75 to 90% of queries will be dealt with chatbots in the coming future, up to the year 2025 and beyond possibly. There's huge savings, up to $0.7 per every dollar spent. In addition to that, we have now an almost 8 billion per year savings by 2022. And this is a gross estimation based on the major countries in the world. With this in mind, we see that this is a 40,000% increase in just 4 years as the study was done in 2019. This shows us great insights as we set up ourselves in Africa. And Africa has a unique position and a unique ability for both from a startup and existing businesses. We can use this opportunity to offer products and services at an international scale. Think about it. We're going to one day create chatbots that will service the world, and we could be at the forefront of it. We can challenge the largest players in the chatbot space. But before we get there, I believe in order to accelerate this success lies in 3 points within the African business context. And the three have always been number one, a strategic partnership, three, focus on internationalization, and, and three, learning from successes and failures. When it comes to strategic partnerships, building strong partnerships with global brands can allow for rapid expansion. Key focus on strategy and team and working towards the fulfillment of your vision are always key things to drive and allow us to go past many hurdles that we face, including the COVID crisis that we have right now. The second is focus on internationalization, designing and developing a product and a website in a way that removes barriers to localization or international deployment. Internationalization are design and development practices which allow such a migration to take place easy in the future. It also occurs as a fundamental step in design and development process, allowing us to springboard when we reach the international scale. The last is learning from success and failures, either from our own as well as from other companies. We can learn from past successes and failures, but also experiment with new ideas. We need this key flexibility. And the next is to take the risk to be unique. We can also learn from some of the successful chatbots that were collaborated from both the east and the west parts of the globe, such as GPT-3 and Microsoft's Little Ice and Japan's Mitsuku. With this said in mind, we also need to change our mindsets. And I really like the quote by Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, says Silicon Valley is a mindset, not a location. We must bear all of this in mind as we move into the future and accelerate chatbots as a norm going forward. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.